Yep.
Hey everybody, this is Rick over at Easy Photo, and we have had a great week. We appreciate the opportunity to have interacted with many folks through Facebook Live, and the team's here today. We're going to kind of give you a summary of what happened this week. If you were here for any of our previous broadcasts, I'm sorry if we double up, but I'll go through it real quickly. And then we're going to kind of, what did Rick learn? Is kind of what's going to happen, and then we've got some images we're going to share with you. And after we're all done, we'll post this up. A lot of folks have been asking us why are we doing this, and the reason we're doing this is we are seriously considering how we could offer extended services in the rental program. And one of the things we've been looking for is an opportunity to be able to do these kinds of projects and offer that equipment. The good news is I believe we have pretty much resolved all the questions that we have, and we're going to be putting together a rental kit, and so stay tuned to that. If you have any interest in this type of equipment, if you have a specific job or a specific project, you'll want to hang in there with us. Stay connected, because we're going to let you out with more and more information. So that's really kind of cool. But let me go back and digress. We had a very interesting project that showed up on our desk. It was loose photos, and it was also these old album photos. Now, if you've seen these old album photos before, they're tied together this way, and we don't have a problem working through them, taking the tie off and going through and scanning them using our flatbed scanners. And that works. We actually use a photo separator technology from Kodak and to separate these as well. So we have the whole image as well as the separation. But along with this was this treasure trove item that was in rough shape, and I mean rough. And it was filled with ephemera, all sorts of paper treasures and this type of thing. And this is literally a scrapbook. You can see it was already kind of coming apart. Literally a scrapbook type thing from the 1940s. And we wanted to digitize this, and we were really struggling with it because every time you touched it, things were falling apart, and we were looking for a solution. And that's where we wound up with the Cruiser model scanner. We had been to a trade show recently, and there's a lot of terrific high-end book scanners, but they're heavy, they're hard to transport, not easy to work with per se if you're going to try to be mobile with it. And so we wanted to test this out. There's a couple of models of these. This model is the one with the 16 megapixel camera. There's another one that goes up a little bit higher and has a book cradle that you can use, but we didn't need that part. So a couple of things we learned. First of all, this became our really good friend. This was the data vac. We would dust it off and blow off any loose areas, so that was a good thing, and we use that in our photo scanning, so that wasn't a problem. But this also became a very good friend of ours. And this was the opportunity to suck the information, the little pieces and fragments up, so that it was always, we had a clear, clean working area. There's one other tool that we had that we found also to be a fantastic tool, and this is just a 3M lint brush. We could wipe over the imaging palette that's there and pick up any particulates. So this became really good, inexpensive little tool for us to use. We have tried a number of different technologies in the past, so I brought a couple of them here to kind of share with you. You'll see these kinds of things. They're really kind of not bad for an 8.5 piece of paper. They kind of say for book scanning, but unfortunately what happens is you can't adjust them up and down and raise the arm, and what happens is at this point, without that fixed distance, you wind up with some challenges. And the other thing that happens is there's all sorts of lighting issues that have been that people have tried. We actually have a hood that we've purchased to try to shoot it, but the challenge is you really only get about a 5 or 8 megapixel camera in these things, so you're not really going to get the resolution that you're looking for. And so while it's good for just slamming a piece of paper in there, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, not so good for everything else that we're looking for. The other thing we've tried is this scan snap from Fujitsu, great product, easy. I love the technology concept of it. You slip it up here like so, accommodates all the way up to an A3 size, which is just a little under 12 inches in width, like 11.8, and then runs out to just about 17 inches. But the challenge with this one is we found as we were using it, the light source is all from here, so it scans and literally kind of scans and spreads the light. And if you understand anything about the physics of light, the distance becomes inversely, the intensity becomes inversely proportional to the distance. So if the light source is here and you're pushing it across, we come from this distance to that distance, it becomes a drop-off in color. The other thing is we couldn't really scan anything like thicker than 1 inch because of some challenges there. One of the common features of all of them is they have a mat. And you'll see in this mat, this has the sizes all marked off on it. This one is another model, and it has the sizes marked off on it. This uses a white background. This uses a black background. We find the background works really good. The CZUR model also has one. I would say one thing about it is that we learned a lesson really quick on, that what we needed to do, because the CZUR doesn't have the markings, we took a ruler. We actually came up along the edge of this thing with the ruler, and we found what midline was, realizing that across midline, if we move to the left or to the right, that became very important because everything's centered off of midline. And we found actually, just at first we kind of were going to mark it, and then we realized, you know, just it's the C of CZUR, on the C part, just use that, and that worked out well. You can also adjust out for different sizes because it is a fixed focal film distance or focal object distance. So we've had a lot of fun with it. We actually posted up some pictures from a book. So if you were doing book scanning, it has a really cool technology, I gotta admit. When we got it and we opened it up, we thought these were the coolest thing of everything. And these are some thumb guides, and you'll notice that they have a mark at the top of them. And literally what we found out was if you'll open the book and place your thumbs with these marks here, like so, it literally eliminates the thumb marks. So the pictures that we put up we use this tool, and we use the thumb marks, and you won't even see them. It's kind of cool. They give you a couple of sets, and they come in a little box like this. So we keep them there, and we've been keeping them clean, and so hopefully they'll last us a long time. However, what that really did was to help straighten the curvature of the page. And it's always a challenge, especially when we're dealing with something like this. And I mean, this thing has some real serious curvature to it. If you were to open it up and to get into this area, although it does kind of lay flat, we had a lot of curvature. So we employed a couple other new tools that we put into our scanning armamentarium. These are office supply pads for your adding machine. So you can get them online. They are a slight angle that we bought a pair of them, and you can adjust it, and you can use them to adjust up and down. And so as you open the book and you're on the first part of the book, you can use it to prop that up and flatten it out. You could use it to make some other adjustments. We found two were satisfactory. They're not that expensive, and it worked out perfect. Of course, when we rent them, we'll go ahead and include these tools with it. The other thing that we found was there were some objects, and you'll see us some samples of it in a minute, but there were some objects that we needed to kind of have like what they call a platen or something to hold it down. So we actually went out and got a True Vue, T-R-U-V-U-E glass. This is a museum piece of glass. It comes in we have a kind of a nice little paper wrapper here to hold it and everything. But what happens is this actually will let all the light come through. About 99% of the transmission of the light come all the way through. And so we could lay it on there gently, and it would allow it to work. So at that point, we used this glass platen, and that was an awesome tool as well. So the final thing that we found out as we were kind of going through the whole thing was we found out about lighting. And lighting made so much of a difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up in this area here. And I'm going to turn to a page kind of in the middle. And what we found out was this device has a foot pedal, okay? And in this foot pedal, what we can do is we can go ahead and hang on just a second. I think maybe if you guys want to turn that around upside down and then maybe find another plug for it. That way we won't be perfect. Okay. This has a foot pedal so that you can make the image. And we started using it with our hands. Worked out great. There's also a way to make an image here, and there's also an image, if you look down here, there's a button you can hit and scan with. But we found this worked the best. The other thing that we found was, while it will take and look at the whole picture in this, what they call a flat image, we ended up using the manual selection. This gave us the very, very best results, and I'll show you why in a second. And all you do is you just take, with the manual selection, and draw a box over the area in the page. So you would draw kind of a little bit of a crop in a box, and then we could make the shot. But what we found out was, and I'm going to ask the guys, if you'll see now, take a look at the lighting. Now here's what we're going to do. We found out that if we would adjust the lighting, we could brighten that up. So go ahead and kill that, and you'll see. Now we've got a different ambient lighting. This lighting is the GE Fresh refresh bulbs that are LED, so that means they're constantly on. We were getting actually a flickering that this device was picking up from the fluorescent lighting. And then when you use an incandescent bulb, which this is kind of like a photographer's lighting device, when we used the incandescent bulb, what we found out was that we got a brown haze or brown cast over it. So that this bright daylight thing, this comes up with a brightness of 1600, and then it also has, there's a chart on the back. You'll always see the chart, and you can see that there's the brightness of it, but it also gives you, on the back, it also gives you, we'll find it right here, this area right here, the lighting appearance, and you want to stay up in that 4,000 to 5,000 Kelvin range. So that's where you want to go there. And if you do that, and we got a pair of them, so we have two lights in work. This does come with some LEDs, but it didn't, they're not very, they're like this, so they're not very much of a light source for us, really, for what we were looking for. And it does have an LED light here as well. The challenge is it kind of casts us so something flat like this works great, and you can actually change the intensity of it. But then it started to bleach the picture out. Now you can adjust the exposure by going down here a little bit. But that being said, we found the best thing to do was to turn off the overhead light and to use the ambient light here, and we got some really great results at the end. So that was the whole story as far as the unit itself. We got some fantastic results. So people began to ask us, well, you know, can you show some results? We can. We got permission from the owner of this book to post up some things as well. And so we want to just come up over here, and we'll show you up on the big screen on our monitor, and then you'll see some of these images in a little bit. We resolved at about 300 dpi resolution with this, but you'll notice that when we first started, and I'll come up here and show you, because we were drawing the pages, we wound up with a little different size on some of them, okay? And so to address that, we used a program called Faststone Resizer, and what we did was we actually resized them all to 8x10s against the longest side. So if something was in a landscape format, it would resize it to 8x10 this way. If it was in a portrait, it would resize it to 8x10. Did that change the ratio a little bit? You can keep the ratio to the same. There were some minute types of things. Because we can shoot this in kind of a raw format as well in high res, what we did was we went ahead and we resized these on up to 600 dpi as well. So the pictures come out a little bit bigger, and I'll show you how that worked out. So this was This was the original. Still, as I said, we're getting about 3,000 DPI in there, or 300 DPI, and then over here we went to a straight, and everything will be a 4800 by 600 resolution. So that's a really kind of a cool feature. And what it does is you will see if we were just to take this and move it away, and we'll show you a little bit more closely, but you do not lose any of the resolution here as we're blowing it up, just very, very minor. So that's what happened in as far as image. So I have the originals, and the customer will get the originals, but they're also going to get this resized product as well. So we're going to do one other thing here while we can, and I wanted, some folks were asking, well, how are you adjusting the pictures and what are you doing with them? These are old documents going back, now 80 years. So what happened and what does it look like? So I'm going to show you in Photoshop Elements what this was. This is untouched, actually, and we can adjust this a little bit. This is untouched, other than just the resizing part. People were worrying, what kind of resolution do you actually achieve? I'll show you if you look here, and let me just come up to this area here. Somebody had written, the creator, you can actually see the particulate matter within the different paper material, but if you look down up here at the top, you're actually going to see I didn't even see it until we brought it in here, and they wrote the dates: October 4, 1995, November 5, 1995, with a very, very small pen. When you look at the paper, you don't even really realize it, but you can definitely clearly see it here. We're going to jump over to another image that as well that you might want to take a look at, and the room, if we could have the overhead lights on, I think you'll see that it's a little bit better. Well, maybe not. I think that's given a bad cast. Why don't we go ahead and turn it off? But you can see here that you can clearly read the article. It does well. I did apply a little bit of cleanup to it, and you'll see just to see what would happen. So we brightened the image up just a tad, and you can, again, it really comes out very, very well. Now, some of the other things that you can do on here is this was a clipping out of a newspaper. Came out, the colors came out brilliant. And then there's all this ephemera. So when we talk about ephemera, we talk about papers and different types of objects. So here is the luggage tags. I mean, the detail in this thing was incredible. The luggage tags, everything typed down. They're actual tickets. If you do a job with ephemera, and I'll come over here real quick and I'll share with you something that we found, was in this scrapbook was an envelope. It was glued down. We opened up the envelope, and here was the actual invitation to this wedding that the scrapbook was. So we pulled it out and put it in a nice display, and if we can come down here and size, you can see that the whole thing showed up very, very well, and it presented beautifully. The garter, you'll run into jobs sometimes that will have kinds of things like, so this is the actual garter, right, that the bride wore. This was the bridesmaids' gowns, colors other than the fading over the 80 years. It's very vibrant. But look what happened when so that's one, that's how we saw it. But when you do this and you opened up the envelope, we pulled the garter completely out, and here is a beautiful note from somebody in the family, very special, about something blue and beautiful for the most beautiful bride in the world. So it's really kind of cool. We did run into one other thing that sometimes you will find. So they then went on a honeymoon to Chicago. Well, they went a bunch of places, but one place they ended up was in Chicago. And so here we found this page in the album, and when we opened it up, we began to uncover the whole story about what had happened, and you'll get a big kick out of this. And so we literally took pictures as we were unfolding it. So we took another image just by snapping another shot. We unfolded it again, and inside was the complete menu, right, with the Montego Bay drink going for 63 cents. So it was a lot of fun to take a look and see this. They also went and did a number of plays and so they went out and did the play. So we got the actual book that the folks get when you your playbill, and it was mounted along with the tickets. And so we would go ahead, and this device made it very simple for us to take, and actually we just opened the book, and we really quickly scanned the whole picture. And it was kind of interesting. They had some really big name people that went on years later to become very famous. So that's a little bit about our job. I think we've had a lot of fun doing it. We're all finished, so the customer will get this image, the originals, as well as the ones that we have resized. We've learned a lot about doing this. I think if somebody has questions, we'll hang around a little bit. But thank you so much. We hope you have a great weekend. And happy scanning. That's all I can tell you. We had a lot of fun on this. So if anybody has any questions, I think we're going to hang around for a few minutes and try and answer them. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. And awesome. So we'll get this job out today and finish it all up. Can you turn the overhead lights on? We'll do that. And okay. Any other questions, or are we good?
We're good.
Okay.